All right, in this episode, we talk about personalized pitching mechanics.
And should we do mobility work every day?
All right, Brent Porcio, Stephen Godani here at the @TopVelocity #Pitch Tip Show, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, @TopVelocity #Pitch Tip Show. Ask your question. We answer on the show. Going to be in Long Beach on the 26th, still open. You can register for that. 3x TopVelocity.net, 3x Velocity Camps, register. Coupon code 3XLB. I'm going to be excited. We're going to the Hilton to start off the day, do our 3x lecture, do our anthropometric performance measurements. Go over any questions at that point, maybe take some beginner stuff. Then we're going to head over to Signal Hill to on-deck batting cages and do all of our work there to finish the day. You'll get the Kindles with all the programs on it, just like the 3X Velocity Camp. But just going to knock it out in one day. That's going to be pretty cool, and that's going to be right before Easter. So if you're close by and you'd rather do that as opposed to coming down here for the summer or for the spring, you still can come down here. 3X camps are going to start picking up, so get signed up for them. We have going to have a great summer, so really try to book your summer as ahead as you can. Reach out to Steven if you need a place to live. Stay here for the 3X training. You get a week of 3X training with the camp. If you want to stay for a month or stay for 2-3 months through the summer, just let us know. We can work that out with you. You can look into 3X training on TopVelocity.net. It's all there. I'm looking forward to this summer coming up. It's going to be hot down here, but it's going to be a lot of work, a lot of fun. I don't know, we might have some interesting characters here. We can get on the show or something. I don't know, something exciting needs to happen because it's kind of getting
well, I mean, if Tim Lincecum comes, I'm kicking everybody out of the house.
Yeah, might have Tim Lincecum down here, who knows. All right, what's the question for the show today? John Fitzpatrick asks, what do you think of this? Do you think everyone should use same mechanics or personalized mechanics? Well, if you know anything about the 3X programs, we obviously personalize mechanics. When you come into our 3X Velocity Camps, which we can't do in you just buying the program. If you did the online course, we can do this. It's in the online course. But if you come here to a camp, we first measure out your anthropometrics. Basically, how your body measures from height to joint mobility to speed, strength, power. And it gives us an understanding of who you are and where your deficits are. And it helps us understand why things aren't happening. It's not that, hit the shoulder separation only correlates to guys that are, 6'3", 190 pounds with a wingspan that matches that and a hip mobility, hip internal rotation of 40 degrees. The correlations don't show that, guys. There still is absolutes biomechanically, but what we know how this all customizes is, hey, you can't just jump into, hey, get better hip to shoulder separation and you don't understand what's going on with your drive hip. Once you understand what's going on in your drive hip, after we measure it, you'll realize, oh, that's why I struggle in this drill or I struggle on the mound achieving that movement. Maybe I need to work on that. And you work on that and you get that to work. And you know what? It's only going to go so far. So for example, with like Bob Wheatley, hip internal rotation only went so far because genetically we hit into range. We hit the end of the capsule. Trunk rotation only went so far, kind of for the same reasons. So then we start trying to pick up things in other places. We start to contralateral tilt more. We start to time movements later, get later into back leg drive and the front foot strike. We just start changing timing of things. And that's where biomechanics get different. But still same correlations, still same principles, just performed a little differently as we go up the chain. So it kind of looks like a different delivery at the end, but all the same principles, guys. And I know you understand this because when we watch pitchers, all pitchers turn their shoulders, all pitchers stride, all pitchers rotate their hips, all pitchers, higher velocity pitchers tend to separate their shoulders. All pitchers tend to break their front legs. Some will extend, some won't. But the point is, there's a lot of absolutes there that create the pitching delivery. If you told someone to watch, 100 games of baseball and never, played baseball for, and then you said, hey, show us what a pitcher does, he'd probably go through the full windup. because he saw there was absolutes. There's patterns that they all do. Now, when we understand how the body moves individually, we'll understand how each individual will use those absolutes differently. And that's how it all customized and personalized for you. And we do that, the 3X Pitching Velocity Program, when you come through the camp and you come through the online course, so we can do that with you. I'm also developing something, I'm not going to release what it is, but I'm also develop something where it takes us even farther. We're trying to make it possible for everyone who buys the program to go through some type of assessment and evaluation, so then the program will customize for you. I don't want to talk about how we're doing that, but that is the next evolution of 3X right now. It's not that what is out there right now isn't working. It's working great. We're just going to make it work even better with this new approach. So I don't know, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah. I'm assuming he just wants to kind of know about if everybody should just follow like a universal pitching mechanics kind of thing, right? But everybody is so different. Central nervous system, limb length, natural strength, tendon length. Like there's so many things that can go into it, and height, weight, everything, that you can't just throw a universal set of mechanics in to developing somebody. What works for somebody might not work for somebody else. But typically, what's so awesome about Brent's program is taking all the science, seeing what high velocity pitchers do well, and then comparing what you're doing, and you can really see where you're lacking and what you need to improve. And the best you can hope for is see where your weaknesses are, and then start working to get those weaknesses better. For example, like Brent's saying about the hip rotation, and you could be lacking mobility or lacking power in the lower half to get that hip rotation, and lacking mobility for trunk rotation. Just all those different things that play into it, and we've pretty much identified what high velocity pitchers do, and you just go out and try your best to get to those ranges. And once you get to those ranges and those power levels, you're going to throw hard. It's science.
Right, and it's not rocket science. It's really simple physics, kinesiology. Once you put it all together and you see all the pieces of the puzzle, it makes sense. And it's never one piece. Mm-hmm. It's never, I just got to fix internal rotation or whatever. I just got to fix my glove side. It rarely ever works that way, guys. It's usually a lot of pieces aren't performing at all, performing well, that are holding you back. And you got to learn all those pieces, and you got to learn how the pieces go together, and that's what we do with 3X pitching. All right, next question. Let's see. Matthew Galileo asks, should I stretch and do mobility work every day? Of course you should do mobility work every day. It's specifically if you have deficits. If your internal rotation, your back hip is 10 degrees. If your dorsiflexion's 5 degrees. If your trunk rotation's 40 degrees. You should be doing mobility work every single day. Not, trying to break yourself, but trying to condition it to improve those ranges. The tissue will stretch and it will remodel, and you demand it. And we have studies show that that muscles grow longer. They actually grow and they lengthen, and that's usually through the demand. And they actually hypertrophy, and that's through the demand. And they'll atrophy, that's through the demand. And they'll even remodel in some cases. So it'll almost do anything you ask it to do. And if you don't ask it every day, then it goes back to what it is. And what it is its DNA. It's told by a genetic code that this is what you are. You're you're the glute. You're the glute muscle. And you're the glute muscle that's going to be this big, and it's going to activate these many muscle fibers and have this much motor units activating those muscles. That the code is telling all those cells to perform those things. But when you put a demand on it, then it adds to that design, and it enhances into that design. And that's why there's such thing as real legal performance enhancement, not something induced chemically. It's something that the body was built to do. It was built to survive. So if you condition it to adapt to the workload and what you want, if you want it longer, you ask it, you pull it, hey, can you get longer? And you do it every day, and it adapts. So yes, if you want better mobility, doing it every day would be the best solution, but making sure you're doing it correctly, make sure you're doing it effectively, and make sure you're allowing it time to recover, which is also a part of the process. So, there's I think a lot of guys watch these episodes to try to piece together all of our programs, and you're going to fail. I'll tell you right now, unless you do this for 10 years, just like I have, you're going to fail because you're trying to do it in a short amount of time. You need to just come and see it and see how it all works, and we give you the secrets, we give you the recipes, and then you take off and you have success with it. You got to spend your careers competing and putting it into action, not to expend your careers reinventing the wheel, researching, investigating, because what's going to happen is you're just going to become really good at researching and investigating. And if that's not why you're doing this, then you shouldn't be doing that. You should be getting the information and putting it into action and performing with it to your best of your ability. So just the point is that there's more to it than just doing it every day. You have to understand the programming behind it, but yes, that's a part of the programming. You just got to know when and when not to do things, how to load and unload, and how to attack something harder and pull back, and that's really what we try to give you in this approach. All right, anything you want to add to mobility every day?
Yeah, like Kelly Starrett says, 10 minutes a day, no exceptions, and that's just for everyday people. If you're in this program and you're wanting to become a high velocity pitcher and you have all these mobility issues, you really should be spending 30 minutes, maybe even to an hour of working on your mobility deficiencies. I think like mobility is the more I'm starting to learn about it from what Brent taught me and what I've read about from Kelly Starrett, it's one of like the biggest pieces of the puzzle that people just completely ignore for pitching. When if you're not able to get into the ranges of motion that high velocity pitchers are doing, there's no way that you're going to be able to multiply force from the ground if your hips are all locked up, or if you don't have dorsiflexion, or how you're going to transfer hip to shoulder separation into the ball if you have no trunk rotation and your I'm sorry, what's the I'm blanking on it right
Extension.
now. Thoracic extension and thoracic rotation, all of that kind of stuff. If you're lacking in those areas, you're really leaking power, and that's just a big thing for you to start trying to learn about it, start trying to incorporate it into your workouts, and be able to give yourself more time behind the baseball. But also, mobility is huge, I think, too, for recovery as a cool down after your workout, especially through this program where you're just absolutely crushing your central nervous system. It's a good parasympathetic activity to kind of calm your nervous system down, get everything to calm down, and be able to recover quicker.
Guys, mobility is simply time to generate force in the ball. I think a cool way to understand it would be, think of it this way: if all major league pitchers, high velocity pitchers, if we're all jets, and we know we need 100 yards on the runway to get this jet fast enough to take off, and that's what all these big leaguers do. They got that 100 yards and they can get their jets fast enough to take off 100 yards. Okay, say you even had a jet as fast as a major leaguer. Mobility comes in by giving you that 100 yards. So it'd be like you not having that mobility and you're working with 20 yards. So you got 20 yards to get that jet to take off, just like those big leaguers who are doing it in 100 yards. Look what you're working with. It's almost impossible, even if you're as fast as those guys, even if your jet is as fast as goes. More than likely, guys watching this, not only is your jet not as fast as those guys, and you're only working with those 20 yards. So that's why it's hard. So, and when your mobility gets better, then you've got that distance to work with. And then when your speed, strength, power gets better, then you got the speed to put into that distance, and then it starts to work. But at the same time, too, there's more to it. It's how you, you set the wings. It's how you drive the plane. That's the motor control of all this. There's more to it than just that. But I think of mobility in that analogy, understanding how distance, it's really giving yourself distance to put more force into action, which is force to the ball. Yeah. All right, cool. Good question. If you have another question, go to Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, @TopVelocity, #PitchTips. Ask your question, or baseball tips, ask your question. We answer on the show. Come down 3X camps, 2X camps coming up, and we'll see you on the next episode.